Well, there were many important stories that needed to be told out of the COVID era, and one that we haven't heard a lot here in Australia is the story of what happened in New Zealand. And after my very inappropriate joke about New Zealanders last week, which a lot of you got in touch to tell me was very, very bad, unfortunately, I feel the need to make amends now. And so I thought, you know what, how better to do that than to bring on someone who's done a wonderful job of helping to tell the New Zealanders' story, particularly around the protest that happened in Wellington, something that honestly most Australians know next to nothing about. My next guest is Gaylene Barnes. Thank you, Gaylene, so much for coming on the Aussie Wire. Congratulations on directing this documentary. It is in cinemas. Tell me a little bit about it. What's the story?
Well, it's a story about the convoy that all of New Zealanders took to Parliament to protest the vaccine mandates and other COVID restrictions, and our fundamental freedoms in terms of the Bill of Rights and a number of other things. And so it took 2 days to get to Parliament, and then we stayed there for a couple of days. The police tried to move the people, and they failed. And then basically what happened is a self-sufficient campsite, Freedom Village evolved, and they were there for 23 days.
Yeah, wow.
And then on the 2nd of March, the people were smashed off by the police.
Yeah, look, it's something that a lot of Australians, particularly Victorians, are very, very familiar with, those experiences and those sorts of things. I have here the trailer for the River of Freedom documentary. Let's watch this.
My role in my own heart, and the reason why I was there, is that I needed to speak the truth.
I had to educate myself. Personally, I'm pro-vaccination, but having to sack people because they don't take a vaccination is, in my book, just immoral.
Like a river that is flowing, where you know.
This is the world that we're in now. You better toe the line, but we wouldn't.
No, I need to do this. I feel so strongly about it. But I'm proud of what I did and what I fought for.
The Wellington protest was that light. It gave me that faith back that maybe we don't have to go down that dark road.
This was where our pa was. I just wanted to get one night on the whenua, and if we had got through that, I was happy.
If the politicians of New Zealand think that these little games that they're playing against us, up against some of the most resourceful people in New Zealand, they're dreaming.
Give them an umbrella!
I think I understood because I listened. Your job as a politician is to represent the people.
This leadership group had a person offered to negotiate. I just assumed the government would behave reasonably.
If democracy is a conversation and politicians don't want to have the conversation, what are we all doing here?
Be calm, everyone. Peace and love.
How can you be an anti-vaxxer when you had a vaccine? Like you did it, right? You're not an anti-vaxxer, you're an injured person.
We'd already been bullied out of everything else. I didn't have anything else to lose.
Made me cry every day they didn't come.
Where's your money?
Well, that certainly gets me right in the feels, and I've never seen that footage until I discovered your film, and yet it all feels eerily familiar, of course, and very reminiscent of some of what we saw in Victoria. What's the reception to your film been like so far, Gaylene?
Well, we released it a week ago on the 7th of September. We had 3 premieres, which were pretty much sold out. We had over 2,000 tickets sold for the 3 premieres. We premiered in Auckland, Christchurch and Wellington. People were, we've just had incredible reviews from that. Hundreds of people grateful, thankful that we're telling the story, that they're heard, that they're just, that their story is being presented, because we haven't really had an opportunity in the mainstream to express why we were there, why the protesters were there, what their goals were. So I think there's been just a bit of relief, actually. And then we're released it into cinemas. So we initially started with 2 or 3 really supportive cinemas, and then they have just been sold out. And we've now got about 30 cinemas, and every day we get more cinemas coming online. It's doing well in the box office, let's say that. And that was what my hope is that it actually just travels New Zealand and it reaches it out to the wider community, so that people who probably weren't aware, who didn't know what was going on, can also just come in and buy an ice cream, sit in the dark, and
well, this is
get
the
an
thing.
idea.
This is the thing. If the situation there is anything like it is here in Australia, there'd be an awful lot of New Zealanders that genuinely have no idea what happened, let alone why. Are you finding a lot of people that necessarily that aren't necessarily on your side, let's say, are coming out to see it and are curious to understand your side of that story?
Absolutely, yeah. I think there was, a lot of fear and a lot of over-the-top promotion by the media, and people who aren't, maybe they don't go online so much, or they're not aware of that it is a bit of a bubble. They're sort of saying, "Oh, I had no idea that the mandates were so cruel, really, and so awful for a lot of people." I mean, we've got people who have lost livelihoods, people who are still struggling to rebuild their lives again, who don't want to go back to their jobs, who are injured. And this is a real thing. These are real people's lives. And I don't understand why the media haven't been interviewing these people themselves, because, we have hospitalizations of people with myocarditis and pericarditis. It's a real thing. So I think there's just a time for a gentle accounting to take place, and that would be awesome.
Well, Gaylene, congratulations on the film. Congratulations on the success that it is enjoying right now in cinemas. People can go to riveroffreedom.nz to find out. I'm assuming that they can find out where all the showings are there as your showings expand around New Zealand. Are there plans to come to Australia?
Yeah. We've got a screenings page there, and it says New Zealand. We've had a lot of interest from Australia, so we're just starting to put out feelers there now. We've also starting to get invites from festivals.
Yeah, amazing.
So that's pretty exciting, because we were a little bit ignored and cancelled.
Yes.
And I think people are looking at it now and going, oh, it's not so bad. It's just people's lived experience. I'm sure we can cope, Yeah.
So. Yeah. Well, certainly my own documentary about what happened in Melbourne, Battleground Melbourne, was not well received. We've been rejected from every single Australian festival bar one, and yet we're winning awards all over the world in international festivals. So it's quite interesting. It's a very cold reception here. Yeah. A little bit more time has passed, and I really hope that attitudes are softening. I wish you every success. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
If your film does come to Australia, please reach out. I'd love to promote it for you.
Okay, we will. Thank you so much.
All the best.